episode of Hope Interviews. Hope interviews a talent agent. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Bri, and I've been living in Los Angeles.
Bri.
Yes, my name is Bri, like the cheese, if you guys like Brie cheese. It's one of my favorite cheeses. And I've been living in Los Angeles for 10 years, and I love the film industry. It's one of my favorite things out here in California. And when I first moved out here, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do exactly, but I loved working with actors. I loved how creative they were and how they're just very charismatic and charming. So I loved working with actors. And at first I thought maybe I would enjoy casting. And for those of you who don't know what casting is, it is the people who decide which actors get to be in the movie, or the TV show or the commercial or whatever it is. So I thought I'd be pretty good at that job. I did it for a couple months. I helped out with a few TV shows, and it ended up being a little more stressful than I had originally pictured. Just because I didn't realize how many people made the decision. There, the director wants an input, the producer wants an input. And there were so many talented actors coming in reading for us each day, and I would fall in love with all of them and want them all to get the part. But as casting, that's, unfortunately you can only choose one talented person for the job. So I realized that as a talent agent, I get to choose actors and then kind of follow them on their journey of being actors and helping them achieve their goals. So that kind of seemed more of something that I would enjoy. So I started doing that in 2012. So I've been doing that for about 8 years now. And I absolutely love it. I've worked with adults. I've worked with babies as young as 2 weeks old. You can work on commercials and TV shows at 2 weeks old, which is so crazy. And I very much enjoy what I do because I love to see the actor's journey of auditioning for a role and all the way up until booking it and getting to be on set, which is
that's good, Bri.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
What talent agent do you work for?
I work for DDO agency. So it's D, so that's like 2 Ds, like dog, and then O.
Oh, okay.
Now, you guys do something unique at DDO, correct? Because I saw, actually on the email, something to do with charity work? Or
yes,
so can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So everyone in my department is we're very passionate about giving back to our community. So with every booking that we receive, we take some of our portion and we will donate it to a charity of our clients' choosing. So when I say I just booked a kid on a job, like for a credit card commercial, and I said, okay, congratulations on your credit card booking. Which agent or which nonprofit would you like to donate to? And right now we have one that's kind of COVID related. That one that it's called No Child Hungry. We have one that's kind of helping actors out during this hard time. That one's called the Actors Fund. And then the other one is EGI, which is the Equal Justice Initiative, which was in Just Mercy. So yeah, we kind of give them the option of either of those 3. Last year we had 3 totally different charities, so we try to change it up every once in a while. But yeah, we take a donation of every single one of our bookings, and we make sure that the client knows, while you're on set and you're having a fun time, you're also helping give back to someone in your community.
Like, what kind of energy are we on now?
Yeah, so I in the past I helped actors work on TV and film jobs, but now I specifically work with commercial and print jobs. So commercials are like, when you're watching TV and you see the actors in the commercials or the spokespeople in the commercials. And then print is kind of like modeling, and you might see those on billboards, or if you're flipping through a magazine and see an ad for a product, that's what print is. So that's what I help actors book on.
How to be movie star in Hollywood? Down syndrome.
Oh, that is a good question. There are lots of roles for people of all shapes, sizes, abilities, etc. I have a few talent who are differently abled, and they work a lot because a lot of people use, or want to be in those commercials as well, be in those TV shows, be in those films. We have a little boy in a wheelchair who's booked lots of TV shows. He does really well. But of course, it's all about your comfort level, if there's anything that you specifically want to do or would not want to do. But to kind of make it in Hollywood, there's unfortunately not a perfect formula for it, but the biggest component is working very hard, and loving it, making sure that this is something that you're very passionate about. So a lot of times actors will be in acting classes, or be helping other actors, such as you guys are doing right now, being in acting groups and being involved that way. And then finding representation, whether that's an agent or it's a manager. And then those people can help you get auditions. And then once you start auditioning, hopefully you book some things, and then you're a movie star.
Can you fire somebody if they don't do their, if they argue and fight with somebody?
Yeah, I guess I could. Thankfully, I haven't had to fire anybody yet. But yeah, if they don't do their job, or if someone's being rude, then it's definitely a good reason to fire somebody.
That's stressful.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It can be stressful, absolutely. I've had a few times where, especially right now, it's just stressful in general right now. But right now I'm trying to make sure that all my actors who are on set are very safe. And thankfully everyone's been very safe and taking everything very seriously. But yeah, things can be stressful if like I was kind of saying before, if someone's being rude or if someone's not doing their job, those things can be stressful. If someone's running late to their audition, that can be stressful for everybody. But thankfully, with some lows, there's a bunch of high things to celebrate. So.
Do all the actors and actresses go on tour?
So we do have one client who was actually just about to do that. She's supposed to go on tour for a new Nickelodeon TV show. And then unfortunately, of course, it was supposed to start filming in March. So that didn't happen, just to keep everybody safe. But she flew out to New York and kind of did like a press conference for the Nickelodeon people out there. And she loved that. That was so much fun for her. So it's a lot of traveling. So it can, that can be stressful. But it's a lot of fun. And then for we have a few, it's not my department, but we have a musical theater department who is singers, dancers, all of that stuff. And they go on tour for musicals, and they get booked specifically for specific regions. So they might be booked for like the West Coast, or they might be booked for the East Coast or the Midwest.
So is it easier to audition for commercials or for TV shows?
Question. So the commercial auditions are shorter. They're not very long. Usually you go in, you have 1 or 2 lines, or sometimes you even just have a little bit of direction where the director says, hey, pretend that you're sitting in your car driving, just like this. And that's it. And that's literally the entire audition. So it's very quick. And sometimes stuff like that can almost be harder because you overthink it, or you're not sure what to do. But with a TV film audition, you're given a whole script, so you kind of understand it a little more. So it depends. Some people seem more partial to TV film auditions. Some people seem more partial to commercial auditions. But the biggest difference seems to be the amount of time you're actually in the audition room, because commercial auditions are very quick. TV film, they want to keep you there for about 10 minutes.
Because of the pandemic and being quarantined, so are people going back to being on set right now? Or like, how's that process like, especially for auditions? Are you guys doing all videotape?
For right now, during the pandemic, a lot of auditions, like you said, are self-tapes, things that people are filming at home. For the beginning part, even filming the actual jobs were at home. So sometimes you were mailed equipment. Sometimes you were recording Zoom, kind of like what we're doing right now, and then they would edit that to be the commercial. So you might have seen a few of those where it kind of looks like a Zoom commercial. And then now that they had the go ahead in June to start doing onset, we've had a few. I want to say we've had about 6 onsets, and they've all been commercials. TV film is still kind of figuring things out, because that's more people more often. Commercials, they can kind of do everything in one day and then be done. But yeah, so mostly auditions are via self-tape, kind of like what we're doing right now. Send that to casting. They call me and say who they'd like to book. And then even fittings have been, we'll mail you the clothes, put them on, take photos, and then we'll decide. It's been very interesting. But so far, all of my sets have been very, very safe. Everyone's been washing hands. Everyone's been keeping their masks on. Everyone has been social distancing, or some have even booked with their real family members, like people that they've all been quarantined with just for safety reasons. We've had a lot of siblings booked together just so that all the kids are together. Lots of family. And then, it's kind of interesting for the commercial because it's a real family.
Do you work with extras?
So unfortunately, I do not. But every once in a while, someone will ask, hey, they didn't book the lead role, but would they be interested in being an extra? Some of our talent really enjoy it. I actually personally was an extra when I first moved out here because, I needed some experience and I wasn't doing anything. And I thought it was so much fun because, you're just hanging out on set around some of your favorite TV shows and movies. You get free lunch, and I'll never complain about free lunch. So while I don't work a lot with extras, there's definitely a big need for them, and it can be a really fun day on set.
So can you explain to the class how an agent works for the actor and how they get paid?
No, not at all. That's a great question. Yes, like you said, if they say, hey, in order for me to sign you, I need $50 right now. That's not allowed. It's never allowed. I, as an agent, do not get paid until you guys, the actors, get paid. And the way that works is we negotiate a fee for you guys. You guys get your fee, what you the amount of money that you get for working on set, and then I get a small percentage of that. And that's my incentive for getting you guys as many jobs as possible. So I don't see a dime until you guys see a dime. And a lot of times agents will, like we handle payroll for our actors too, because that can be confusing. So we'll get the checks, we'll process them and make sure that they don't bounce, that everything cleared, that they paid correctly, that they didn't shortchange you in any way. We'll do that, make sure the check is good to go. We'll take our percentage and then we'll mail you the rest, the rest of the check, the rest of what's yours. And then that's what most agencies do. I don't really know of many agencies that do it otherwise, but yeah.
Where do the actors and actresses get their makeup and hair done?
It's a good question. A lot of times they get it on set, which is kind of fun because sometimes you get a free haircut. But sometimes with the pandemic, sometimes with the pandemic, because people are trying to stay away from the face, they've asked people to come with their own hair and makeup done. It just kind of depends on how specific they're looking for everyone to look for whatever job it is, but usually it's done on set by professionals.
So can you explain to us the difference between an agent and a manager?
Sure.
Yeah.
As an agent, I am licensed by the state of California, and I do have the power of attorney for my clients. So that means that I can negotiate a deal, and I can accept it on behalf of my clients. A manager can do a lot of the same things I can, except for that. They cannot sign a deal on behalf of their clients. We can both get our clients' auditions. We can both weigh in on what we think is best for our clients as far as headshots or acting classes or anything like that. But the biggest difference is agents have to have a licensed bond in order to work, and managers do not.
So is it important for an actor to have both?
It depends. If it's something that you really want, if you want both, do it. We always say the more members on your team, the better. But if you feel like it would be confusing, or you don't really find one of each that you like, then don't force it, because one or the other will work. But if you find both an agent and a manager who are really passionate about you and you think will work really hard for you, then do it. It only helps.
How tall do you have to be in order to be a model?
It's a very good question. So it depends on what you're modeling. If you're modeling clothes, usually females have to be 5'7", and males have to be over 6 foot. That's for if you're modeling clothes. If you're modeling like a product, like say it's for Tylenol or it's for candles or something that it's not clothes specific, then you don't have to be any specific size at all. You can model those things just by holding them. So it depends on the product. But if it's kind of like a high fashion clothes or a runway or those kind of things, that's when you have to be pretty tall. I'm not that tall.
So what is the best way for someone to get an agent, in a sense? Because I know that's a very broad term, because there's so many ways. But
Right.
yeah.
The different options.
The different options.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, like you said, unsolicited emails or cold submissions. Us as an agency, we're fine with those. We love those. We sign lots of people from those. So that's when you go to an agency who you don't know and you say, hi, this is me. Here's my picture. Here's my resume. I'd love to be signed by you guys. Another way is a referral. I would say if I was to pick one, that might be the best way. And that's if you have a friend or a colleague that has an agent or manager that they like, you ask them, do you mind introducing me? And then you have an in, and then the agent or manager says, oh, okay, well, I know this person, so of course I'd be happy to meet with that person's friend. And then those are usually, or like you said, a workshop, a showcase. That's another great way to find talent. If I'm seeing a showcase where actors are doing their craft and I'm getting to see them act, that's definitely going to make us give them a call.
How do you audition when you walk down when you're walking and you show off your clothes and what you wear and all that stuff?
How do you choose your audition outfit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I personally think it's always best to go with something that you love to wear and you're very comfortable with. Because if you're uncomfortable, you're gonna like be itching at it and readjusting it, and that's not good. Right. So one of your favorite outfits, usually something that's kind of plain, like a solid color, like a black or like a blue or gray, what you're wearing.
Okay.
If it has patterns, sometimes it can look a little too busy on screen. But
Okay.
again, if it's one of your favorite things, it might make you stand out. So something that you're comfortable with and something that you like to wear, those are perfect. Sometimes casting will ask you to do something crazy. They'll say, we want to see the craziest sweater you have, or we want to see, they might ask for something really specific, in which case just do your best, see what you have in your closet and see if it'll work.
What are some good ways that someone who doesn't have an agent helps them promote themselves?
Yeah. Actors Access is still very huge. I would definitely say Actors Access. Another one that's similar to Actors Access, that's kind of more for print and commercials, is called LA Casting. That's a great one. Backstage can be helpful for a few things, but it's not huge on castings anymore. And then of course, like YouTube and Instagram, social media, that can be a good way to kind of put yourself out there.
Maybe you would like to, if there's any kind of information you think that maybe we should know about, or something that we just didn't think about when it comes to asking. And
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I always like to tell actors or creative people in general is don't be afraid to make your own content, to make your own blog, to make your own video blog, to make your own web series, any sort of art that you want to do, because sometimes it can be hard sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring, waiting for a job, something fun to do. So create it yourself, because you never know when someone else might see it and say, hey, this is great, this is exactly what we're looking for. Both me and my husband try to make sure that we're always staying creative and we're doing fun things that keep us active and busy and bring joy to our lives. So I highly recommend it, especially right now during this time. And it doesn't even have to be anything real serious. It can just be a day or two, or just something that pops into your mind. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the most amazing piece of art you've ever created. But again, you never know when someone might be looking for it, and someone, it might ring true to that person and they might be able to relate to your art. And that's always something very special. So I always try to remind people that I know it can be daunting to make your own web series or blog or whatever you want to do. But it can also be really rewarding, and it can lead to bigger things that you didn't even think of.
bye. Thank you so. Everybody, tell Brianna thank you. Tell her thank you so much.
Bye,
Thank
you
you
guys.
so much.
Of course.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Bye, Danielle.
Bye.
Bye.